Hey lovelies, thanks for stopping by for today's BYOP. I am very ready for this one. I'm ready for this one not only because I really love the color story that I ended up with, but I just really need the positive energy, y'all. I mean, it has been a season, let me tell you. It has just been, you know, one of those very weird winters. I have to say, as far as like cold and ick goes, here in Wisconsin we've been pretty lucky in a very weird way. You know, it's been unseasonably warm a lot of days. We haven't really had a lot of snow. Granted, my fiance Jeremy's kind of sad about that since he does snow removal for work, but you know, it is what it is. But let me tell you, even though it hasn't been super cold and snowy, there were a lot of gray days, a lot of blah. It's just been kind of like the season of meh, honestly. It's like meh, like we didn't have a Merry Christmas, we had a meh-free Christmas. Okay, that we're getting cheesy. So before I keep going down that little rabbit hole, we're gonna get into this eyeshadow palette in just a moment. But if we haven't met before, my name's Kelly and I'm a professional hair and makeup artist. And here on my channel, I strive to keep beauty real. Real honest, real relatable, and real fun. So if that sounds like something you'd enjoy, don't forget to click subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos. This series was started by myself and my friend Kara from Beauty and the Frizz as a way to really get to celebrate and use our single eyeshadows more. We are really wanting to get use out of the makeup we have, and we hope you will join for the ride. Whether that is just using these as inspiration to use your own singles, but if you would like to join in and share your palette with us, we always love that. If you are a creator, this is open to anyone. Any month that the theme seems to float your boat, I'll be sharing next month's theme at the end of this video, and it's gonna be a fun one, a challenging one, but a fun one. And if you're not a creator, you just wanna share, you can always tag us on Instagram to show us your color story, some swatches, a look, whatever you'd like. We really love this. Really, there's one rule. Well, there's two rules. Have fun. But really, the one rule is that we use 10 shadows. So I'm gonna be sharing with you those shades today, and we will do some swatches. We're gonna do 2 looks, and you know, just kind of have some fun with it. Start that positive energy for the spring. I'm here for it. I hope you are all as well. So without further ado, let's zoom in and get to the swatches. Oh, I am just realizing I am almost out of wipes. I have probably just enough for this video left. I go from like getting the Ginormo box at Costco, which they haven't had recently, which is probably why I'm out. And then I have just this one. I do not use makeup wipes very often. This is like the only time for makeup swatches. Anyway, as I'm getting set up here, I did want to say that anyone, of course, I'll have Kara linked down below so that you can check out her video, but I will also have any other creators that I know that are joining in on this one linked as well. So make sure you check out the description box when we're done with this video, because I really love seeing everybody's palettes, especially for this one. I think it's really going to be interesting to see how people take it. Speaking of, how did I take this theme? You know, because I think every time we do a theme, usually it's a fairly loose theme. You know, it's like take that as you will, however you would like to create your color story. For me, this was really a combination of shades, finishes, I don't know, just the vibe of things that would boost my mood, feel really positive. You know, I did go ahead and dig into like what color kind of represents positivity. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that it was really just like loosely centered around the vibe of positive energy, you know, really just opening up my palettes, seeing what sort of triggered that response in me. And I think that sometimes like it's our intuition that really leads us to like the things that we're looking for. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at the palette I created. I'll give you a little look here. So as I was saying, I did look into the color that denotes positivity, and it is yellow, which is where this shade came from. And the rest, you know, like I said, it was really just more about the energy that they bring. Of course, I did want to have, if you know me, I always try to have some lighter shades, some deeper shades. I have to have at least one, preferably 2 shades that can be used as an inner corner. This palette didn't really get very deep. I mean, I think that this shade here can be built up a decent bit. And obviously, I mean, the green is not, it's bright, but as far as like the value of it, it is, you know, more in that like mid range. It's not exactly like a light green. I don't know. This is, I thought like, okay, Kelly, this is a little verging on the light side for you. Maybe you should pop in a deeper matte, and it just didn't feel right. In fact, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of the 10 shades here are shimmers, which I think is probably about standard for me. But I was like, should I maybe swap out one of these shimmers for a deeper matte? And I was like, no, that doesn't, it's just not aligning with my vision. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get into the swatches now. And as you can tell, I don't have any eye makeup on right now. I did go ahead and throw on some other makeup, which I'll have listed down below if you do wanna know what I'm wearing. I am right now, if it looks like I am a little darker than I should be, I am getting prepared to do a foundation declutter video, and I was like going through my drawer and I'm like, how can I declutter these if I don't wear them all? So today I have on the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Stick Foundation. This is the shade Vanilla Beige, and it is a little deep for me right now for this time of year because, again, winter. Yesterday was the first day I've seen the sun in a very long time, like actually been out in the sun. It was lovely. Jeremy and I went to the Botanical Gardens because it was like 60 degrees in February. I know. So that's the first day that I've like seen much sun other than driving to work. So I'm a little pale. I'm totally getting rambly, but I just had to say, like, if I do seem a little too dark for what I am right now, I just wanted to test the foundation. Okay. Seriously, now we are going to get into the swatches. I'm just trying to boost that energy. Okay, so this is the first shade that I picked out, other than knowing that I wanted to have a yellow. This is the first shade that I picked out. Okay, Amphitrite. I thought it was Amphitrite, but I think it might be Amphitrite. So this is a beautiful, I mean, look at that beautiful shifting shade. I mean, this just makes me think of positive energy. Like, I look at this and I'm like, oh my gosh, rainbow unicorn fairy vibes. Like super magical. Yeah, that is just amazing. And honestly, y'all, I actually considered making this a Devinah exclusive palette because you know how much my Devinah shades make me happy. And I was like, well, I could probably do a whole Devinah palette, but I did decide to grab some from some other brands. But if you do want to pick any of these up, do I have? Yeah, I have at least one other Devinah shade in here. My code KEEPBEAUTYREAL will save you. Oh, look at that. I mean, it's just so pretty. And I love how much color there is to this one. Again, this is one of those that reminds me of, okay, when I was a child and, you know, whether, I don't think it was necessarily Barbie, but like Rainbow Bright, maybe like Care Bears, like some of those different toys, like sometimes they would have that overlay on fabric that sort of had that, this feel. It was like a crinkly kind of like plastic, or when you get like gift baskets with that like cellophane-y type stuff over it. This is the finish that it reminds me of. It's just so magic and light catching. So that was one that I knew I had to put in. Now, I will say, for me, a flakier texture is not something that I really enjoy. In the pan and on my brush at first, that shade is a little bit flaky, but as you smooth it out and you work with it, it obviously gets really smooth. But if you saw me when I was like swatching it on, there were some little flakes. So same with this next one. This is Echidna. I think that these are both actually Mystic Cove shades. So, I mean, this is a green to pink, y'all. How could I not? I mean, look at that. Oh, so pretty. So I love a color like this. We're okay. It did not break. I am going to give it a little security smush back into the pan. Okay, did anybody else's heart just go ba-bum? Echidna's fine. So I love a color like this because you can really change the shade by what you put underneath it. I'm not one to usually put shades like this really thick on the lid because they do start to showcase texture a bit more. Wow, these are so shimmery that I'm having a hard time like really like seeing it on my arm. So these swatches are like crazy messy. But look at that. I mean, how stunning is that? You can see that beautiful like green to pink. Ooh, so pretty. And I will give you a little bit of like a lower light swatch here in just a moment. But I do think that that's actually coming up pretty true here. All right, this next shade is actually one of my favorites from this brand. And I think that I actually had this in another palette in the last like 6 months because I pulled it out and I was like, I feel like I've just been talking about this one recently, but maybe not. But it is one of my top 10 shades from the brand Pretties for Your Face. This is Nightingale. And this just has such a beautiful finish to it. It's really smooth. I do feel like Pretties for Your Face shades can kind of be all over the board as far as the finish and formula, but this is one that really is so, so pretty. And it's this, I don't even know what to call this. Like a olive green with some brown undertones, with some almost old gold, but aqua. I don't know. That's what I'm gonna go with. But it is just so, so pretty. And again, it's one of those that, you know, you can pair with other shades. It's a beautiful, just sheeny shade. I mean, obviously, next to like bangers like these two from Devinah, it looks a little more calm, but here you can see, like, it's got some beautiful character to it. This is one of the worst sets of swatches I've ever done, and coming from me, that's saying a lot, because I've done some bad ones. We're just gonna roll with it. All right, another Devinah shade. Oh my gosh, are these all? I think these are all Mystic Cove shades. Okay, I was having a vibe here. I was having a vibe. So this is Thoosa. So yeah, I said that I was trying to decide between a few. I guess I just decided to put all of them in, and they all have that same, like I was saying, that cellophane, multi-colored vibe. Now, from what I remember, Thoosa has a bit less, yeah, it has a bit less of the flaky texture than the other two shades that I have selected from the brand. This is just so, oh, so pretty. I mean, look at that. You get that beautiful, like, aquamarine shift with that pink base. I see a little bit of like a green in there too. So pretty. So pretty. I feel kind of bad for Nightingale being stuck in between all of these, because it is really a beautiful, beautiful shade. It's just, you know, next to these, it's just a different level of ba-bam. And sometimes you need a little pa-pow, and sometimes you need like extra major fireworks. So I'm just giving you all the options. Okay, so now we have our first matte, and this was actually the last shade that I put in the palette, I think. And this was really, you know, I was kind of waiting to see how all of the colors, all of the shimmers kind of came together, and I wanted something that could round everything off. This is the shade Relax from Sydney Grace. So when I pulled this one up, I was like, positive energy, relax. We all need a little relaxation to remain positive. So I thought this was a great shade for that. I don't know why I just like spun it like it was gonna have some shift, but here we are. This shade is really nice because it's almost like warm concrete color. Like it's got a bit of sandiness to it, but a little bit of grayed out tone to it. So I thought this would be really good to balance everything. You know, we have greens, we have pink, we have yellow in here. It was like, what kind of neutral is going to go with that? And I thought that this was a good one. So I really do like the shade. Okay. So this is one that I'm totally biased on because it's one of my shades with Pretties for Your Face, but this is the shade Lovesband. And there is just something to this shade that really makes me so happy. Again, when I was working with Meg, I told her, I was like, I really, really want something very smooth, you know, to have some luster, but really not be something that you will have to worry about flakes with at all. And, you know, I think we did it. I think we did it. So you can see here, if you load it on, especially with like a glitter glue or a wet brush, you can really get that beautiful sheen. I have worn this layered over other colors. I've popped other colors over the top. It has this beautiful, like a very sheer mahogany brown base to it, I would say. Like, yeah, and then that beautiful color over the top. And, you know, I just remember when we launched the two shades, Lovelies and Lovesband, it was just such a cool experience for me, and it was so well received. And honestly, I feel like the shades themselves have really been very well received. And so it was just such a fun experience, and it really was a very positive one. I have since had 2 more colors with the brand, and you know, it's just been really fun. So I just had to put one of my shades in here, and Lovesband is honestly the one that just makes me the happiest. I mean, look at that, it's just so pretty. You can use my code KEEPBEAUTYREAL, by the way, to save on your Pretties for Your Face purchases. They have sales launching all the time. I do try to share them on my Instagram stories and usually here on my community page as well. And if there's anything going on right now, I'll let you know in the deets, probably in the comments. Okay, so here we are with that yellow shade, and I am trying to think. I think I pulled out a couple of these from Nomad Cosmetics because I don't think that I've use them much. Maybe once. I probably swatched them when I got them, but I'm not even sure if I've used them. And these are singles from the Monteverde Cloud Forest palette. The brand was doing singles, and the palette in general just didn't speak to me a lot. I did want to get some of the beautiful brights that were in the palette because they have such a beautiful matte formula, so I ended up ordering just some of the singles. Since that purchase, I have been put on the PR list, I'll just let you know, but these were purchased by me. But if you do want to purchase any Nomad, you again can use Keep Beauty Real. Are you noticing a theme here? Keep Beauty Real is usually the code that I try to keep. But look at that beautiful yellow. And I do think, again, I find that, you know, a beautiful soft matte, usually in a swatch, you can't see the majesty of it, but I mean, you can see how much it built up right there. Like that to me is totally positive energy. So I knew I wanted to get a beautiful bright yellow in here. And I think that that's probably my brightest yellow. I also chose another one from the same palette and or the singles. I'm sad that the brand isn't offering them anymore, but I get it. It's a lot to do. This is the shade. Did I even say? I don't even think I said. So this is Toucan. And this one is Green Spiny Lizard. Look at that. That is just like Kelly green all the way. I had to have like a green in here. I could have gone, you know, I love a good like murky green and olive green, but this to me is totally like positive energy vibes. And I think that, you know, you could pair this with the shades that have some of that like pink and green combo to them, and it would be super fun. I think that we're definitely gonna have to do that today. All right, we have the shade Sweet Scent from Dandelions. I wanted to put in a soft pink into this palette to almost have as like a blending shade. I think it'll go well with a lot of the shades in here. I really do love the Dandelions formula. They are so beautiful, buildable, very pigmented. I have to be honest though, I don't really see myself ordering again from the brand. That makes it sound like I had like a bad experience ordering or something. These mattes, oh, right over the little crink in my elbow right there. They are so sensitive because they are so soft. I had one, as far as I know, I don't think I dropped it. I don't think anything happened. I went and opened the palette the one day and just the whole pan had just like fallen out, but they are very, very powdery. They have a lot of kick up, so they're not for the faint of heart. They're not for the people who like get freaked out if their pans get a little dusty or their palette gets a little dusty, because they're kind of high maintenance. So they're very beautiful. I think that they do a great job with the matte shades. They have so many beautiful ones. I just don't want to have to be that fussy with my shadows, and I just don't see myself doing it again. But they are very lovely. I highly recommend if you're down for, you know, dealing with that. Okay, this last one I have not used enough of for sure. This is the Odens Eye Jewel Shine Single in the shade Lola. So I thought this would be a good option. Of course, you're not really going to be able to see a lot of it right now, but I thought this would be a good option as an inner corner, as a topper. You know, I definitely needed to have some light, beautiful, shiny, shimmery shades in here. And Lola was the last one I chose. All right. Yeah, I mean, look at, oh, she's so pretty. Very, very pretty. I'm pretty sure I already filmed one look, by the way. The other day I was like, I don't have time to film the whole video, but I'm going to do one of the looks. Ooh, this has a really nice texture to it. I think I use this as my inner corner shade, so you're not going to get to see all of the majesty of this. So I'm glad you get to see it in a nice swatch right there. So pretty. Let's go ahead and turn down the lights here. Wrong way. I'm just going to turn down that center light. And hopefully you can see that there. So in the past, I have typically done another close-up and let you know the shades again. I'm gonna skip that today. I don't know if it's all that valuable. Like, let me know if that's something that has been helpful. But if it's like, no, we hear you in your yammering and we see the swatches as you go, we're good, just get into the eye look. Let me know for next month. Okay, so speaking of, I'm gonna go clean myself up. We're gonna get ready to put on some eyeshadow. Well, I'm gonna put on eyeshadow. If you're putting on some eyeshadow along with me, that's great. If not, that's okay too. All right, so my plan. First of all, my plan is to try not to get a ton of fallout on my face. I didn't put on any under eye concealer or any powder because That way I can kind of clean up the under eye and then finish my makeup off. But I really don't want to become a major glitter fairy. I think I'm gonna go with the greens. We're gonna do some green. Other than that, I don't really know. I definitely want to go kind of bright, but kind of like light, like not too, I don't know, not too dramatic, I guess. Granted, every time I say that, it ends up being dramatic, I feel like. But I just have to say, I did not plan to do a quote unquote spring palette. You know, like I wasn't thinking like, oh, spring vibes. But I do think that this is a really great little palette for spring. So I am excited to do more looks with it after today. I'm keeping it out for a while. I do still have the shades from my BYOP with the Peach Fuzz in here. So I've got these two together to be able to use because I think both of these are going to be great for spring. So I'm going to keep these together. And that also kind of gives me the option to kind of flip flop between the two. So considering how long and rambly this has been, I might actually just go ahead and speed this up. Both looks are just going to be kind of like music, chill time. I of course will give you my thoughts at the end of each of these, but then this way, this isn't a 9-hour long video because I just had an hour-long fragrance ranking video go up. So I'm going to try to keep it a little more short and concise for you now. All right, I'll see you in a minute. All right, here we have the second look. I am really digging this. I'm just realizing though that I don't have anything on my lips. So let's take a little bit of the watermelon shade from City Beauty. Just a tiny little bit though, because this is pretty bright. We're just going with the pink and green vibe. I totally did, in case you couldn't tell, I totally did have to clean up my face. So I'm glad that I didn't do like technically a full face of makeup before I started my eyes, because there was glitter everywhere from that beautiful sparkle shade on my lids, which I believe is Echidna. Yes, Echidna. So I'm really here for this. I really like the yellow inner corner. This shade is more like lemon limey than just straight up yellow, but considering the other shades that are in this palette, it works really great. Probably doesn't help that I have some pretty bluish inner corners right now because blue and yellow makes green, so that probably added to it. But all in all, I really do love this look. It's gonna give me positive energy vibes all day and I am here for it. So now we are going to get into the second look that I did for you already, and then I will give you all my final thoughts and we'll talk about next month's palette at the end of that. All right, I have to say I love this. Honestly, I feel like this is a positive energy look. It's not like bright, like ba-bam, but to me, it's, yeah, it just gives me those vibes. And I absolutely love, I mean, I know I'm biased, y'all. This is my shade. But I love Lovesband with a lot of other colors. Like I could have kept it with just that pink. I felt like adding the little bit of relax just sort of like neutralized it a smidge. It just was the vibe for today, but I could have just left it pink and green and been super happy with it. I do also have a picture on my Instagram of using it with the Color Fix in Exposed, which I love that. Like I was like, oh my God, I love this look. What is this again? I was like scrolling through. It's from a while ago, but I was like, oh, it's my shade. So I just think it's a very versatile eyeshadow and it gives you a little shimmer, a little shift, but in a soft way. So again, totally biased. Okay, so thanks for humoring me and letting me pat myself on the back for this shade and featuring it in this video, but it just makes me so happy and it was just such a positive experience. So I am glad to have this one in this palette. So speaking of the palette, let's go back, we'll review, and I'm gonna tell you what we're doing next month. It is gonna be so much fun. All right, lovelies, thanks so much for hanging out with me for today's Positive Energy BYOP. You'll have to let me know what you thought of these shades. What would you do in a Positive Energy palette? Do you have like a color story? Do you have like one eyeshadow that totally gives you like positive energy? I think that this is gonna be a fun one to play with this season. I know that today, like already, I just feel like a little more pep in my step. And like I said, I cannot wait to see what other creators do with this theme. I think it's going to be really fun seeing, you know, everybody's color stories. Speaking of, okay, for next month. So we're going to do a randomized color generator palette. So this is going to be super fun, a little crazy, I have a feeling. A little chaotic. So if you aren't familiar, you can, using the interwebs, you can pull up random colors. And so I thought it would be just kind of fun to do sort of like palette bingo, but with singles, you know what I'm saying? So what we're gonna do is pull up 7 shades using that randomized color generator. And then each creator gets 3 shades to sort of make the palette cohesive on their own. So every single person who's doing this is going to be picking different shades, by the way. We're not like as a collective picking those 7 random shades. Everyone will have different ones, which I think is going to be so interesting. We should probably give out an award for like the craziest color combo that someone gets. That would be really fun. So we're really excited about this one. I think it's going to be a fun way to bring in spring with a bang. So make sure you stay tuned. If you are interested in doing any of the BYOPs, we do upload on the last Thursday of the month. And again, if you are not a creator and you just wanna play along, please tag myself or Kara on Instagram. I am KEEPBEAUTYREAL and she is Beauty and the Frizz, just like we are here on our YouTube channels. All right, lovelies, don't forget to give this video a like so that other Build Your Own Palette, other single shadow lovers can enjoy it as well. And I will see you really soon.